You guys won, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Hey, guys! It's Old Man G here, back again with another episode for the podcast, Red Studio Live podcast episode. We literally just jump ship from the post-match reaction against FC Partizan, which was we won, but frankly, it was a bit of a joke. Sorry for the delay. We're getting started. All those who are coming to the stream and will be watching the stream, just for introductory purposes, I'm Old Man G. I'm with
Team Chicago 1.
Ahmed.
And we're basically just going to be discussing essentially most of the key issues that we think are around Europe. And basically, first and foremost, at least right now, we're going to start with this man. As you can see, the first thing you can see here is Unai Emery. Unai Emery. Right now, Arsenal are losing at home. Now, I suspect that they will win. I suspect that they will come back, that they will win this game, and the Arsenal fans in front of me will just chill out and it'll be fine. But at the weekend, because we're reviewing all of the weekend results, at the weekend, Arsenal lost away to Sheffield United. If you remember on the podcast, Ahmed in particular was very positive that Arsenal were going to beat Sheffield United and that Liverpool were going to trounce.
I said we were going to draw.
Yeah, you did.
Did you say we were going to draw?
It was me who said we were going to
Oh, okay, I got the other two right. But there was general positivity.
I wasn't positive.
You weren't positive, man.
No,
you weren't positive. Okay, so correct me there. Correct me that. Actually, Arnold wasn't positive. Team Gaggy was positive, but they were both clear that Liverpool were going to beat United, but that obviously didn't happen. So yeah, you guys. There was a genuineness that Liverpool were going to beat United. That was definitely there. That was definitely there. But clearly, going back to what happened. Sheffield United did beat, and they had a convincing win. I'd say a very convincing win against Arsenal, and already the Emery out wagon is in. And I want to pass it on to, because I don't want to speak that much. I want to speak to Team Takagi and say, what are their views of Unai Emery now? Do they generally think that he is the right manager for Arsenal?
Well, since my very first podcast here, I never thought Emery was the right man for Arsenal. There was a period, the unbeaten run last season. I think it gave everyone a sense of maybe this is a new dawn, it's a new beginning. But playing under him, there's too many issues. First, we have absolutely no identity. I don't know what our tactics are when we go. We're creating very few chances. I think we've scored 13 goals from our first few games. At this point last season, we scored 25. We're conceding goals more than ever. I think against Watford, we conceded more shots than we've ever conceded since statistics began, which is quite shocking. And I never saw it surprising, because Emery is the same coach who was coaching PSG. They're set up to take the French league, and yet he lost it to Monaco. Who have I don't know. It was quoted that the budget that they had was it 1/20th of the budget that he had. But anyway, and then the capitulation against Barcelona and the many other capitulations he's had. The freezing out of Ozil. It makes absolutely no sense, considering we struggled immensely to break
What is
down.
what do you think is actually going on? What is it? Is it that is it on Emery? Is it on Ozil? Like, why? I mean, even in this game, this Europa League game, where they're at home, they're playing against a team that I'm assuming none of you guys had heard of before.
No disrespect.
No disrespect to the team, but okay, maybe you could argue Sheffield United, whether that's away from home, blah, but he's at home, he's there, and Emery did say that he was doing well, he was ready. So why is he not starting?
And that's what he seems to say every week. I think he just doesn't see eye to eye.
I agree. So it's the Mourinho Pogba thing all over again, isn't it?
It's quite ridiculous. The other thing was, why was Ceballos on the bench?
I think he's on the bench tonight
against Sheffield. That made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, what was his midfield?
His midfield was Xhaka for some reason.
Xhaka, Guendouzi, and Willock. That makes no sense. We're
not a team that's gonna none of them have zero creativity, zero, absolutely. And we have zero intensity. He intends to play the ball up from the back, and we do it very poorly. We do it appallingly. I don't think his ideas are getting through to the players. It's 18 months in, and I think we're going backwards game to game. If you look at all the statistics, we're going backwards from last season massively. And we're going back even more from Wenger's last season. I think Wenger would have done a lot better with this team than him. Defensively, we were shambles with Wenger, but at least we had ideas going forward.
Well, speaking of Wenger, I mean, a lot of people. There's some Arsenal fans that are saying, they would take Arsenal back.
Well,
is that really something? Is Emery playing that? Because bearing in mind, he's only been there for a season a bit. And do you think that are there Arsenal fans legit that generally think that he should come back?
There probably are, but he's 70 years old and it wouldn't be good for his health. Let's be honest.
And I think we wanted to take the team forward.
Yeah,
that was the whole thing. I hope the higher management think of Emery as a stopgap until a proper manager becomes available. I think we wanted Arteta before we wanted. And then I think
we didn't want Arteta though. Arsenal fans didn't want Arteta.
I'm not sure about Arsenal fans. I think.
No, Arsenal fans.
Jeez, Martinelli, such a good player.
The Arsenal games in the background, just in case anyone knows, the Arsenal games in the background. I'm with Arsenal fans here. Team Zakagi, what do you think about Emery?
Yes, obviously there's always something that goes on behind the scenes. We don't see everything. We only see pictures, we see videos. There was a thing on the training ground where Ozil was talking to Emery. It didn't really look like a lot, but it did seem strange. And then Ozil posted something on his Instagram, like, you make me laugh and all that kind of thing. So there's obviously something going on. And Ozil's one of those players who, even when he's playing on the pitch, he does things at his own pace. But he's so good that, like, he's by far our most creative player. Ceballos is probably second. But then Emery plays him too deep for him to even affect anything.
Too few minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you see people like Klopp, Guardiola. Guardiola didn't win anything in his first season. Klopp didn't win anything in his first season. But then, so give them those 2 seasons, like, you could see what the
they were trying
impact was. Liverpool was scoring so many goals with Klopp, it was just a defence that was a problem. Then they got Van Dijk. There we go. Guardiola, I don't know if they signed De Bruyne this season after. I can't remember. But maybe they were lacking something and it was like, okay, well, money can fix that type of thing and improve players, etc. Emery, like, I don't really know what his drive is. Like, he seems to... Obviously, his claim to fame is the Europa League, winning it with Sevilla 3 times or whatever.
And disrupting the Liga, I guess, in that point of view,
But is that what... If you, like, said it, if it's a stopgap, that's cool, but, like, is that who we should be as a football club? Really? Someone who's won a Banter Cup? Let's be honest. There's nobody... Europa League, you use it to get into the Champions League. That's it. It's not... Oh my goodness! It's not a Champions League, It's not an Allegri. It's not a this person. It's not a this person. So, if I'm honest, I'd rather someone like Ljungberg take over until Christmas or even till the end of the season, just to see what happens. Just seeing what's happened with Lampard, someone completely new who knows the club. Ljungberg knows the club inside out. He's played for us. I think Emery. I don't know. He's a bit of a fraud to me. He's a fraud.
So
no disrespect.
I think that
he talks a good game, but
right, and he comes off quite well, and he's trying to learn. And maybe
the first season against the big teams, he did a lot better than we were doing previously. We always used to get battered in those big games.
True.
And he kind of short that.
I mean, we drew. We didn't win a lot of them.
Well, so what about this season? So how do you think he's improved that?
This season, it's definitely not an improvement.
Because Tottenham, I don't know whether we were home or away.
We drew at home.
At home, you drew away to essentially a Banter FC United side. Let's be frank.
And then
battered by Liverpool and
arguably we actually played quite well in that game, but the tactics were all over the place.
Chelsea, have you played Chelsea yet? I can't remember. No, not yet. And you haven't played City yet either.
And the tinkering as well. It's just
So basically, just for the record for viewers, like, are you both Emery out?
I've been Emery out for a while.
Yeah. I'm Emery out now. And the tinkering, like you said, if you look at Liverpool, like the core of that team always stays the same. So Fabinho is always in there. You might not have Mane, Firmino, and Salah all the time. Fabinho's definitely going to be there. Van Dijk's always going to be there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fullbacks, they chop and change with them. For me, Torreira was probably our best player last season, apart from Aubameyang.
He seemed to use him less and less towards the end.
Well, he started playing him as a number 10. I'm like, what's going?
It's coincided with our drop and
yeah.
points that we lost in the Champions League race.
I agree. Before Torreira came to the Premier League, he had the most successful tackles for Sampdoria in the Serie A, such and such, all these different statistics. His first season at Arsenal was brilliant. And then, I don't know, Torreira would probably be my first player on the team sheet, apart from Aubameyang. And he tries to use, I don't really know what he does with Xhaka, to be honest, because I see Guendouzi defending more than any of our midfielders.
I don't know how Xhaka ended up captain. There's zero leadership qualities there.
Someone quite disrespectful. I don't know if I can say it on the stream, but they think Xhaka's got pictures of Emery's wife.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
it makes more sense than playing him on his merits.
Right. Honestly, Xhaka. I mean, Xhaka. I think he had a decent season. Was it Mönchengladbach he came from? Or something?
A couple of seasons.
I mean, but that's Mönchengladbach. They're not amazing. Let's be honest. Like you can be great in a not so great team, if that makes sense. You know, it's easy to stand out in.
I think the other thing is the tactics are not doing Xhaka a service. They're doing him a disservice as well. He's expected to cover the back four.
He's not that type of player.
And he's not that type. He needs someone else with him.
I mean, and to be fair to Xhaka, I've seen him in some games where he plays with maybe like a Torreira and a Guendouzi or an Ozil, and he's fine.
Yeah.
But you play Xhaka as a CDM almost.
He
doesn't know what he's doing. Because Guendouzi's doing more defending than him.
It has to be a double pivot with a disciplined player. Yeah. He's not going to manage on his own.
I mean, Patrick's ever called us babies, so.
Patrick's ever full of babies. Well, apparently Xhaka infuriated him and didn't particularly like.
Well, maybe that's the type of thing we need. I don't know.
Emmanuel Pitti as well laid into Xhaka. I think this morning.
Really?
Saying he thinks Guendouzi should be captain instead of Xhaka.
Bro, give it to him. That guy's hungry.
Yeah.
That guy's really hungry. If not him, Lacazette, but Lacazette gets injured quite a lot. Guendouzi, I'd be happy with that.
I think we have the players. We have really good players, I think, individually. But
is that the same? So, what am I trying to say? So, I think before we just move on, do you think what actually is Arsenal's aim as a football club?
At the minute,
because you won't say, and it looks like Arsenal have equalised. Who was it? Who scored the goal? Martinelli, who will not be playing at the weekend, I imagine. So that they're enjoying right now. But Arsenal have equalised. It's 1-1 Europa League. But what actually is Arsenal's?
Well, I'm presuming at the start of the season with their board expectations,
given the amount of money.
Yeah, it's top 4 minimum, and Europa League is an expectation as well. Last season we finished outside the top 4 and didn't win the Europa League. So I don't know. Isn't that a sackable offence?
We gave him the benefit of it being his first season and the fact that he managed to get us
which I guess
to the final, and it was a point off the off the top 4.
True. So I mean, Arsenal, they do reward loyalty. Obviously Arsene Wenger was there for a long time.
We don't chop and cut.
No.
We're not Chelsea.
Well, I mean, we're saying that, and you're right about Chelsea, but I mean, look at what Lampard's doing. I mean, it's weird that I feel I'm just really annoyed at Chelsea because they don't actually deserve what they got. They scored again.
No, what you're saying is
they don't deserve what they got, and yet they've got a gem. In Lampard, who's playing very good football, and to be honest, I'm sure if we knew that Lampard could play this type of football, would you take him at Arsenal? Would you take him at United?
Lampard?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it?
The type of football that he uses the youth clearly, and the type of football that he plays
inside out. Like it's almost like the stars aligned. Because I don't know if you watched Derby last season. They were unlucky to get.
You could tell at Derby that he was good.
Right, the way they played.
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't have necessarily all the players to back up that, but now he's almost like he's worked. So at Derby, he worked with what he had. Chelsea, he's working with scraps as well, and those scraps are now like turning into gems, really.
Yeah. He's very astute. You could tell from his time as a player as well.
Yeah.
So but my point is that, like, you know, if you knew
Mustafi, customary yellow card Mustafi.
If you knew the type of players, these guys are watching it, they're hoping and praying that their team is not going to lose tonight. But I think we talked about Arsenal because it's not an Arsenal. It's not an Arsenal stream. Let's actually move on to this man, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, obviously these Arsenal fans follow me predicting that they were going to lose to Liverpool, get spanked. In fact,
I did not say that.
That didn't actually. That didn't. I'm just saying. Let's be real. Liverpool were actually quite poor. I think everyone would probably agree that Liverpool were very poor, to be honest. But I mean, it's weird because having watched the Partizan Belgrade game, and please obviously look at that post-match reaction. It was pretty brief. We literally went straight to Red Devil Studio live. Once again, it shows that United, for some reason, we can't seem to. We can only seem to. I know what our style is now, and our style is essentially counter-attacking football. But we can't seem to even do that well. The second half of the Partizan game, frankly, and we were trying to hang on, and most of the United players were in the box. What was worse, when we actually brought on forward-thinking players in Daniel James and Rashford, we seemed to be more defensive. So, in a way, I'm happy because a point at home to Liverpool Old Trafford and the win away to Partizan has been good. But I'm not entirely sure, I'm not convinced whether this is enough for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't think it is. We obviously don't have a lot of people watching currently, but for those who'll be watching, do you still think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is the right man for Manchester United? I'm happy that we proved the critics wrong in the fact that we actually held a draw against Liverpool. And as I said multiple times in the previous stream, I knew that we weren't going to lose the game. Liverpool have not won at Old Trafford since, I think it's 2014. And it's only been once in 10 years. So there is a psychology there. But the reality is that overall, you could still argue the performances, just are not good enough. They're just not good enough. I don't know what you guys think. Were you surprised by the result? What do you guys think about the whole thing? I know they're watching the Arsenal game. These guys are holding on to breath. But what do you guys think about? Banter. So, guys, once you finish this stream, you just head over to AFTV. It'll be AFTV and chill after Red Devil Studio. I know I'll be going to AFTV after the Pessiming, but AFTV and chill, man. That's how it is. Red Devil Studio live, AFTV and chill. If Arsenal lose this game, I don't think they will. If they do, we know as United fans who the true Banter FC is. That is, no matter where United are on the table, everyone knows Banter FC will always remain to be Arsenal FC. But what do you guys think about Solskjaer, the Liverpool result, that you guys were wrong, etc., etc.?
Liverpool seem to have a mental block when it comes to going to Old Trafford. I think they had, what was it, 3 wins from hold on, sorry.
Go on.
It was a bad scoreline. I think they had 3 wins over the past 20. I can't remember. And Klopp's a great manager, but I think sometimes when he goes to people like City, Man United teams like that, he'll continue to play Fabinho, Henderson, and Wijnaldum, and which is fine because it's a solid midfield, and not a lot is going to get through, and not a lot did go through. They went down the wings, caught them on the counter attack, and a brilliant first goal from Daniel James and Rashford. But like, I watched the Liverpool game yesterday against Genk, and they played Ox and Keita instead of Wijnaldum and Henderson.
Yeah.
That midfield, if you're not going to get goals from the front three, then one of those two is going to do something because they just look so positive. Keita passes it forwards and runs forward, whereas Henderson kind of passes sideways. And Wijnaldum plays in more of a deeper role. Like he plays sort of calm for Netherlands, number 10, and you see how effective he is there. But Klopp kind of likes the front three like almost like an engine, you know, like a German, you know, BMW or something. So yeah, I think they need to. I don't want to say they have to be too less cautious, but when if they want to win the league, sometimes you kind of got to take chances. You drew with thingy last season, Man United last season, when that game was for the taking, when all their players were injured and someone got a red card.
No, I don't think anyone got a red card.
I think someone got a red. I don't know.
No. What happened was
you saw your subs.
Yeah, we used our subs and Marcus Rashford got injured. So we're down to 10 men. Yeah, that's what happened. And they still couldn't beat us.
Right. The draw, you know, Man United and Everton celebrating their draw with Liverpool like it's a World Cup type of thing every year. So you know you have to win those games. You know, are they capable of beating City when City? I would say City. You know, they're not the best right now with their makeshift defense, and they're still winning games. Is Klopp going to be set up defensive over there too? I think Ollie. Yeah, Ollie's good for now. I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
Or did you just say that as an Arsenal fan?
No. I think he's good for now. Like, arguably, if it's us two in the final in Champions League, Europa League, I would think Man United are going to win. We don't beat United like regularly. You know that Man United's play up to their competition, if that makes sense. So when they play Cities and Man United's and Arsenal's,
They step up.
yeah. When they play, who did they lose to this season? Palace and then, what was it, Palace?
Palace.
And I think that's your only loss.
No, they haven't.
No, we've lost to.
Another 2 losses.
Do you have 2?
Yeah, we lost to West Ham.
There
And
was another one.
that's the only one that I can think of right now. West Ham.
Oh my goodness!
West Ham
Sorry.
and Palace.
Yeah, it's like
Arsenal being battered for some reason.
It's like this
but there we
famous
go.
American football team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They play up to competition. So like when they play the Patriots and people like that, they play well, but then they'll play like a lower caliber team, and then they'll lose. It's the same thing with United. So I don't know if that's a mentality thing with Ollie. I've seen him, you know, when you drew to that Astana or something.
Astana, yeah.
And they were going about, we should have had a penalty and all that kind of. It's like, come on, we shouldn't have to rely.
Well, I haven't
on
seen the press.
It's kind of like Emery and Ollie. I don't know. They have that same kind of mentality. I don't know what it is. Anyway, I'm talking too much.
No, it's okay. I mean, you're right, and I agree. And we're going to move on in a second because I'm a bit tired of. Because to be honest, watching that second half against Partizan was painful. It really was. Do I think Ollie is the long-term solution to Manchester United? If he continues to play this type of football, then no. Because it's basically a worse version of Mourinho football.
Yeah.
It's not the type of football that I want to see. You know, I hope that, you know, the only positive thing that I hold on is that the signings that he got were good.
Would come good.
You know, Daniel James, Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka. Although I'd argue that Harry Maguire for 80 million, you're like, I can't see the difference between Twansibi and Harry Maguire. And Twansibi is an academy product, went out on loan to Aston Villa, and you flip him with Harry Maguire, and I can't really tell the difference at all. So part of me just thinks like, to be honest, I'm not saying Harry Maguire is bad, But if you had a choice to me saying, right, in the summer, instead of spending 80 million on Harry Maguire, you spend that on getting either another midfield player or at least replacing Lukaku. And 80 million would have gotten at least a semi-decent forward player.
Fernandes,
or maybe an Icardi or Dybala for 80 million, something like that, some other forward option, and instead have Twansibi and maybe like a Smalling or Twansibi and a Lindelof there. We would have been able to cope at least.
That's the thing, though. We can talk of these things now because, look at Chelsea. Chelsea, their what's his name was injured. Rudiger, who was really good last season. They sold Luiz, and everyone was bandering them. Now they have Tomori, who's fantastic, and then Zuma, who's actually improving. He was so good before his injury as well. Bearing that in mind. But you know what I mean. So. No, we can't. It's hard. I guess it's easy to say these things now.
No, it is. It is.
Hindsight is always 2020.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
But at the same time,
I agree.
It's not just the players. It comes from the management too.
Yeah.
But you're right about that. It's funny because look at Leicester are doing fine defensively.
Yeah, exactly.
And how much did they buy the third for?
Not a lot, I think. Certainly less than 40 million, I would have said.
No, it's definitely less.
And then Johnny Evans. So.
Yeah, who was former Manchester United. He was at Manchester United, and I think he went to West Brom. And you're like, Johnny Evans is like, I left at the right time. So like, just manager, a lot of them saying. So this is the thing.
Yeah,
anyway,
Leicester have had some brilliant managers. So that's the thing.
Well, to be honest, not.
Yeah, Ranieri. He was after Ranieri.
The assistant who got him sacked, and then that assistant didn't last long. They got the former Southampton guy who was who was a bit dull, who was at Southampton. No, I think and then
Rodgers.
Rodgers came, and Brendan Rodgers.
I like him a lot. I'd love to have him at Arsenal.
I think, to be honest, I said this actually before Unai Emery because he was still at Celtic, and I said. Before he came, when Arsenal said, I said Arsenal should go and get Brendan Rodgers.
And people were saying,
you're laughing a job because he just managed Celtic. Emery has more experience. He does all this. I'm like, Brendan Rodgers. It's like Brendan Rodgers managed Liverpool in the Premier League.
They should have won that.
And they should have won that title. So he's got Premier League experience. That he managed Liverpool for several seasons. So that is already. Premier League experience is already there as opposed to Emery.
People saying, he's very good tactically, Emery. Because he's very tactical.
But
he is not.
And the key thing with Brendan Rodgers is that, and this is the thing, there's only so few managers, and we'll move on in a second, is that you don't see that many managers, and the only examples right now, Pochettino to a certain extent, but more so Klopp, more so Pep, more so Brendan Rodgers, and I would argue maybe even Eddie Howe to a certain extent. They are actually coaches, not managers, coaches. And by that I mean they actually improve the players that they have. You look at Raheem Sterling, before he came to... he was good at Liverpool, but you can see Guardiola has massively improved him. You look at Mane, Salah, Firmino, massive improvements what they're on. You look even at Leicester, and even how Jamie Vardy's playing, Maddison's playing, you see improvements. So... the problem is that we think that in the football fans these days just look at results and look at tactics, but people seem to have forgotten just basic coaching. And when you have a good coach that improves players, in time you will get better. But if you just look at achievements, like this is the thing with Zidane. I think Zidane, and I'm not sure whether Zidane is a good coach. I think he's a good manager, but I don't think he's a good coach. Because he was able to essentially just manage players, their egos, play them in the right position when they won the Champions Leagues. But we're seeing now that, as a coaching point of view, in terms of how you actually improve players, did any players actually improve under Zidane? Really? Did he actually improve players? Ronaldo was always good the way he was, and he's saving from Benzema. I can't think of a single player, possibly Modric. But actually,
straight after Mourinho.
No, he came after Carlo Ancelotti. Oh, well, we're getting against that, but we're going off topic. Actually,
a lot of young players as well.
We're going off topic. Let's actually move on to Madrid because this is what we're actually talking about, and you can see Bale and Isco, who doesn't seem to exist anymore. Francis gone. To be honest, like he's not there. I'd actually take Isco at Manchester United. To be honest, I'm sure Arsenal fans might take him as midfielder, but they have enough options, especially if you've got that Ceballos guy, and you're like,
Isco is I don't know. Do you not think he's an upgrade?
Who?
On Ceballos? Isco? Yeah.
No way.
Isco is 27 as well, I think, right now. So he's prime, but
No way.
you're seeing these two.
I really rate Isco.
So did I at one point.
I still do.
But he's not been playing.
He's
not been playing. He's not, and the thing is, we talk about Gareth Bale and falling out with Zidane, but like at least I've seen Bale. Like I actually haven't seen Isco like play.
They can do without Bale, can they?
Yeah, but I haven't seen Isco at all. Like I just haven't seen him play. Like I mean, maybe he plays in the Copa del Rey games, but he's just not been present. Has he been injured? Is Isco out? I don't know. I don't think so.
He's there. I think Zidane
just doesn't play him.
Like Emery and Ozil.
So we bring in Zidane because it actually in the title it had like Banter Madrid because although obviously we're doing this after the Champions League and Real Madrid beat Galatasaray away Galatasaray actually played quite well.
It was fortunate, wasn't it?
It was quite fortunate, and the reality is that in the Liga, Real Madrid lost to a team that Brits go on holiday to and get drunk. Mallorca or something like that. Yeah, you just like
promoted this season.
They promoted 2 back-to-back promotions, and Real Madrid. Yes, okay, they had Bale out. I think they had Bale, Modric, Kroos out.
I think he was being cautious for the game in Turkey.
So you mean to say the great Real Madrid cannot, with the squad that they have, the millions they spent, this is similar to Manchester United in a way, beat a team that's just had back-to-back promotions to La Liga because they're scared of a team called Galatasaray.
I think,
where's Madrid here?
So I think the problem was that they're doing so poorly in the UEFA Champions League. They're bottom of the group, I think, before the last.
I don't think they're bottom of the group. I think
before this match, before the last match, I think they were.
Were they? Because I thought Club Brugge was bottom of the group. I'll check, but go on, Ahmed.
And I think for that reason he wanted to keep his players fresh, the more important players he thought, fresh for that game, and so he gambled Zidane, and the gamble backfired terribly on him.
It massively backfired. Yeah, so looking at points, we're going Real Madrid. So 3 games played. I think you might have been right. Actually, they probably were bottom because Real Madrid have 4 points, PSG have 9. Club Brugge have 2 and Galatasaray. I expect PSG in that group will beat
everyone out.
Everyone out, Club Brugge again. So the key is who's going to come second.
And it's probably would have been between Galatasaray and Real Madrid.
Well, this is the thing, because I know Madrid did just beat Galatasaray, but I'm not actually confident when Galatasaray come to the Bernabeu. I think Real Madrid seems.
Club Brugge made Bernabeu there.
Yeah, but they've not been. They've not been the first team. Even when Zidane won the Champions League, I remember. I think the Juventus game. Juventus actually beat them 3-0 at the Bernabeu, and then it was actually the away leg where Ronaldo scored his hat trick. So.
Ajax beat Real Madrid last season.
Ajax beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. So their performance at the Bernabeu are not great. And to be honest, PSG are going to spank them because PSG
are
on form and they lost at. So when you're looking at this table and you're thinking, okay, Madrid are probably going to lose to
Paris
at the Bernabeu.
Wherever it's played, yeah.
I think they've still got to. They have to play Galatasaray, I think. So they have one more home game, and then they have to play Galatasaray and PSG at home. They'll lose to PSG, and then Galatasaray, you're like, I don't know. Because if Galatasaray even get a point from that game, and Real Madrid lose to PSG, and then they have Club Brugge less, and they have Club Brugge away,
and then
it could be tough for Real Madrid to get out of this group.
If Galatasaray managed to beat Club Brugge home and away, that's when it does really.
Well, I think Club Brugge has already played Galatasaray. And I think they drew. That was where their first point came from.
Okay, which is going to be that's I guess fortunate for Real Madrid.
Yeah. But I just think that like it's quite possible that Real Madrid could not qualify. You know they're going to lose to PSG, so they essentially have to.
The point is, do you think even if they do you think they're going to beat whoever they meet in the last 16, or by some miracle the last
Real Madrid or PSG?
Yeah.
Both.
No, Real Madrid. Well, PSG.
Paris, I feel they're actually making a good run at it this year. Hopefully.
It's one of those psychological things again, but their squad's definitely better than last year.
Their coach,
by far.
What I suspect with PSG though is that like Napoli will like finish top of the Liverpool group, and they'll just be drawn against Liverpool for second, and they'll just
That's
go.
what I was thinking.
I just don't understand.
Did Liverpool finish second last?
Yeah.
And who did they play?
Bayern Munich.
And they
just spanked.
It's so funny.
It was 0-0 here, wasn't it? It was
Sorry?
0-0 in Anfield.
Yeah.
Both Liverpool and Tottenham finished second in their groups and got to the final. And you're like,
I mean, there's quite a few teams, quite a few groups. You look at the Dortmund group, Barcelona and Inter.
Yeah.
You don't want to face any of them really.
Who's going to come through on top in that group? Because yesterday Inter Milan won.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah,
Dortmund is so inconsistent. Man.
Dortmund, I don't know whether Dortmund. I mean, we've got the Champions League. Whilst we can do the Champions League detour. Juventus actually, we'll talk about them in a second actually. But just finishing with Madrid, I mean, do you guys think that they will actually qualify from this group?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
They got the experience, haven't they?
I think they'll come second.
Yeah.
So they're not, we know they're not going to beat PSG. So do you think they're going to beat Galatasaray and Club Brugge?
You were saying about that.
Because I think it's going to be a crunch match.
Because do you think they're going to beat? Do you think they have the ability to beat Club Brugge away?
Well, you would hope so.
Well, they drew again in the Bernabeu. And to be honest, like the Club Brugge were unlucky. To be honest, I think they actually should have won that game.
I don't anticipate this poor run of form to continue indefinitely.
They lost.
I think Zidane's
we started with this when they lost to Mallorca. That's where this conversation started. They couldn't even beat the recently promoted Mallorca team.
This poor run of form, it's either going to end with an improvement or Zidane getting sacked.
Okay.
And when Zidane gets sacked, there'll be a resurgence. They'll be galvanized when the new coach comes in.
Is that doesn't that depend on who comes in? Because if rumours have it that Jose Mourinho will come in, and we already know that key players like Ramos, I think Modric, maybe one or two players don't like that idea.
They're past it anyway, aren't they?
They are.
Those senior players, even if they're not there, I don't think it'll be that much of a problem really. So I think either way things they can't get any worse than this, can they really?
I mean, they can drop into the Europa League,
which will be bad news for both of our teams really.
It would be. Well, I don't know. To be honest, I fancy United's chances to get Real Madrid right now.
Really?
I'm being serious because you look at United, we play like as a counter-attacking side. Real Madrid are not going to sit back and defend. They're going to come at us. Do I think that Rashford and Martial can outschool Madrid's defense? Of course I can. Sergio Ramos, their defense is terrible. Like, it's afraid. Casemiro's past it. So it's nothing for me that scares me about, frankly, Real Madrid's defense, and certainly Casemiro. The key thing is that are their forward players going to find form? And right now, Vinicius Jr., no. The Jovic guy they bought, where's he? Benzema is probably the only one. Gareth Bale, if he's injured or not. Hazard is still too fat. Benzema is probably the only one who might do something, and he's 32 now or something.
Bale's not bad either, is he?
Yeah, Bale's not. If Bale's fit, Bale can be really good. But it'll just depend on whether Bale's fit and whether Zidane wants to pick it. More viewers. There's 4 people watching this. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel and comment obviously if you're new. Just moving on. So we talk about Madrid, or Banter Madrid as I call them, and now I'm going to talk about just briefly about this guy, Kylian Mbappe. Mbappe, yes, he scored a hat-trick away to Club Brugge, but I was thinking about this recently, and it would be, if PSG, because PSG have got a sort of team, as Team Takagi has just said, if PSG win the Champions League and Mbappe scores the winning goal, certainly does a performance, you have a guy who's, is Mbappe 20 now, is he?
Yeah.
think so.
You have a 20-year-old who is basically a World Cup winner and a Champions League winner at 20. And played pivotal roles in both of those. And Israeli obviously won domestic champions. Like, that almost to me ends the Ronaldo Messi era.
Yeah, that's true.
It does because you have a player that is literally like, I'm 20 and I'm a Champions League and World Cup winner. Messi, Ronaldo, you've not won World Cups. I won a World Cup and a Champions League. At 20.
That duopoly is gonna go. I think
it'll go anyway, but I just think
be the one to break it.
I agree.
Mbappe.
There's no one else.
There's no one else you see who can.
Neymar was touted too, but
Mane's probably the closest. That's the only thing.
But Mane's obviously 27 now, so
he's not going to win a World Cup with Senegal, is he?
And he's not. And it's the numbers as well. You see the number of goals Mbappe scored this season.
Ridiculous.
I know a lot of detractors would say it's just Liga. There's no one else. The defenses are non-existent there, but the fact that he's actually doing that, and I think if he steps up to another league at some point in the future, like Real Madrid, potentially,
he could be the saviour.
I mean, this is the key: is that do you see Mbappe committing his long-term future to PSG? Because PSG certainly look now. Before it was just kind of like, okay, it looks like it's just like a project, just signing big key players, more about marketing, etc. But now, especially with the signs they made in the summer, they look more like we actually want to build something proper. No more of this Neymar crap and all the rest of it. We actually want to perform.
And they did it. They do, I think, and I think they have their coach. I don't think is a bad coach. I think he's a good coach.
Yeah, he's okay. I think they can get a better coach. I don't see him as a massive improvement over Laurent Blanc, to be honest.
Well, I see him as a substantial improvement over Unai Emery, for example.
Possibly, yeah.
I feel like he's more. You get from ex Arsenal players that.
I'm not going to bring up the United loss at Paris because that's embarrassing for any coach. I'm sorry, to go to Paris and so that's the thing.
You had more than a helping hand.
I got the pun there. You had more than a helping hand. But even then, yes, we got through, but we were still 2-1 up. You know what I mean? Like we still won. In Paris, we're still winning in Paris with a BTEC team. Yeah, of course, it was poor, So, but the point I'm trying to make is that you still had the players to score. Mbappe was playing. They had the players, they had enough squad to put 3 or 4 past that BTEC United team. And
I think the goals that you guys, the first goal especially that you scored, made them. It kind of shook them quite a bit.
Yeah.
It definitely did.
So that's the thing for me. PSG is that. They've got a strong team. I think Idrissa Gueye, Herrera, and the like will improve them. And the key thing for PSG is going to be, can they get over this psychology? A lot of it will be dependent on who they obviously get drawn against, and obviously if they're unlucky to get drawn,
luck plays a lot in it as well.
I mean, looking at the Champions League, potentials who they might Obviously, if Liverpool finish second. I think they'd be very unlucky to play them. Group F in particular, the Barcelona-Inter Milan group, I think that could be quite tricky. I think Inter Milan, as a second place, could potentially give PSG problems, especially with how Conte plays. He's a very good coach. Even the Chelsea-Ajax group, to be honest, I think anyone that comes out of that, you suspect Ajax will be second. That could be quite tough. And
I think, but Chelsea, Ajax, they need to be beating those teams if they actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then likewise Juventus, Atletico Madrid. So there are a couple of groups here. They're like the second place team in these groups. Tottenham, Bayern, another one.
I fancy playing Tottenham now.
PSG.
Yeah, or any team in Europe, really.
What will fancy playing Tottenham?
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. They started the first 3 games. They lost all of them. So you never know. But just bringing it back and just to finish for Kylian Mbappe, if this guy maybe not this year, but if you just think about it, he wins the for next year. He wins the Champions League, and then potentially, I think he could potentially win a treble with PSG. Potentially goes on to win the Ballon d'Or for the following year because he's not going to win it this year.
And when are the European Championships?
And maybe European Championship next year.
Yeah, as well.
Beginning next year. So, it surely must be over. Like suddenly you have essentially the world's best player.
Yeah, but then the thing about Ronaldo and Messi is the sustained excellence for life.
That is true. That is true.
More than a decade, really.
That is true. But I just think that
and I think that would be so difficult to match for any player. Really.
That is true. But
I don't think we'll ever see anything.
But I think it's
a
unique.
No.
I still think it's a unique circumstance to have someone who is not even 25.
He did break Messi's record, didn't he, yesterday?
Yeah.
The youngest player to score 15 Champions League.
Exactly.
By I think 2 years almost.
That's crazy.
So to do that, to be 20, because it's like, what more do you? Because you're 20. Where do you go? You're a World Cup winner, and you won a Champions League, and you were pivotal. Not just you were in the background, etc. You were actually pivotal for them doing it. You were a key player. That I think is the difference.
Without you wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
I think after that, I'll just be trying to sustain that and trying to become like Messi, Ronaldo, like long time.
Arsenal still losing, by the way, just in case you guys weren't aware of that. It's second half just started, but it's 2-1. Arsenal still losing, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of Emery out. I am so looking forward to AFTV if this result stays the same. But anyway, moving on quickly, running out of time. Penultimate topic before we get into the Premier League fixtures is the Bundesliga. I was speaking to Team Takagi one about this. The Bundesliga is mad this season. I mean, the table is here just so that everyone can see. But you have, after 8 games played, Borussia Mönchengladbach, who were actually crap in Europe, frankly. They're crap in the Europa League. They're in the Europa League. They're awful. And yet they're the top of the Bundesliga on 16 points. They gave Xhaka, needs no explanation. Wolfsburg are second. You've got Bayern and Dortmund. Leipzig, Freiburg, Schalke, Frankfurt, Leverkusen. And if you look at up to like 9th, Bayer Leverkusen, it's literally like 2 points from, literally there's only a 2-point difference between 9th place and 1st. And there's only a 5-point difference between 11th place and 1st, which is insane. So it looks like quite a competitive Bundesliga season. But I guess, do you guys just think that Bayern are still going to walk away with it? Or what?
I think for a lot of people at the beginning, or for me as well, a lot of pundits thought that it would be Dortmund because they made some really good buys over the summer.
Was Hummels a good buy though?
I think it was an improvement on their defense.
Oh yeah, their defense is trash.
I think, and then I looked at Bayern Munich and their defenders, and when they gave away Hummels, I was like, who's going to replace him really?
Right, Boateng's not good.
No.
Not anymore. The other guy's not bad. Hernandez and Sule, they're decent. I think Pavard sometimes plays centre back too. Yeah. So I think.
But I thought none of them were really experienced enough.
Yeah, true. I agree. Especially for Champions League.
Yeah.
If you want to win one.
But then they've been really inconsistent.
Dortmund. Yeah, of course they are. But I'd also just argue that Bayern have as well. I mean, Bayern drew to Augsburg, who again, much like Madrid, recently promoted side, and they drew to Augsburg 2-2. So not 0-0 like as a defensive sort of, but they drew 2-2 to Augsburg, and suddenly you're like, well, actually, hang on for a second. You've got a
recently promoted
side beating Bayern Munich, and you've got a team. Sorry for a second. You've got a team in Augsburg who have nothing to lose, and Bayern are expected to win the Bundesliga, and they're shipping goals. I think that's where Bayern, they're defensive.
And after the Tottenham game where they scored 7 in the Champions League, you were thinking, they're gonna use this as a platform to carry their game to the next level. But it doesn't seem like it's happening. And I think their coach is now under quite a bit of pressure from the fans, and I think even from the hierarchy. He might. They might end up, if things don't pick up. I think he'll be the one most likely to get the sack.
The Bayern coach think he's going to be sacked.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, they're doing well in the Champions League, and they're going to get through. And I think that obviously, Lewandowski seems to be the bright light. He scored again at the weekend, and he's doing quite well.
Gnabry's doing
very well. So their front forward play is doing very well. And so
that still hurts, by the way.
Gnabry leaving,
bro, and there's this other guy, Marlin or something. Where did he go? PSV.
He's top scorer in the.
And watch us go and buy him back for like 50 million or something.
Yeah.
Man, Arsenal.
You'll just get a Jack replacement, I presume. Something like that. Some Jack replacement. But yeah, not to worry, because we want to end stream fairly quickly. But I think it's reasonable to keep an eye on the Bundesliga. I think this looks like it's probably, because yes, it's only 8 games, but it looks like this probably might be one of the most competitive Bundesligas to date, because Bayern looked good, and then at the same time, I just think almost like City in a way. The only thing is with City, Ederson I think is a better keeper. I think Neuer is not the same Neuer anymore. I think he's past it. But defensively, they can be got at. If Boateng's there, even Sol and a few of the others that are there, I think they have problems. I think
they do. They definitely do.
Anything else to say about that?
Nah.
Cool. Okay, so keep an eye on the Bundesliga. That's that. Right. Quickly before we go into fantasy football tips, is just previewing the upcoming games for the season. Arsenal are still losing. Just to put that in there again. So we're just going to quickly go around, just previewing match day 10. And so first game, Team Takage, Southampton at home to Leicester City.
Southampton, they're always going to play the same way with this coach. It's like pressure, and if you can't face the pressure, then you'll end up losing to them. Southampton, they haven't beat United, did they? Or was it a draw? They beat United.
Who?
Southampton.
No, it was a draw.
Yeah, but they who did they beat? They beat the one or two teams, and just by playing that sort of heavy metal club football, So you got to be careful when you play Southampton, because they can press you and then catch you on the counter. But Leicester, who I'm really rooting for this season, because I just love Leicester as a club. I don't know why. I just love their fans, and I love their fan base. I love the players. So
don't root for them too much now.
Yeah, or else I become a fox. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. We might get top 4.
I think they probably will get top 4 the way they're going. But, I think very much so.
They're quite exciting to watch, to be honest, Leicester. And all the success they're getting is completely well deserved. So I think I'll give Leicester that one, maybe a 2-1. Look at this. Okay. This guy is. Okay. This is what our players should be doing.
Okay. So
this guy is. He's
sorry,
he's
guys.
Emirates Banter.
Sorry.
What?
Sorry, guys. Arsenal
oh my
just.
Gosh.
The Arsenal game is in the background, and the disrespect to Arsenal can be truly felt.
He's winning, and he's. Oh, sorry.
We're going to stay on topic, but unfortunately, it's the Arsenal game in the background.
Oh, this is.
And it looks like it's getting bad. But we'll move on, because we're going to talk about Arsenal's game against Crystal Palace soon. We'll come to that, actually. Sorry about this, guys.
Can't play from the back.
Team Takage won. Calm down. Ahmed, Man City, Aston Villa. Oh, sorry, before we get score prediction and who to score.
I said mine. 2-1.
2-1.
For Leicester.
Okay. Ahmed, Man City, Aston Villa.
3-0.
2 to City. Is City at home?
City at home.
No,
okay, that's it. Who to score?
Aguero and Sterling
brace. Okay, fair enough. Good shout.
Villa can score goals.
They can. And again, defensively, defensively, City are vulnerable, as they've shown multiple times. And I do say that Fernandinho does give away penalties. I think if you've got a trick in there, he can be a bit rash.
He did that yesterday.
But he's done it before, and I think relying on him as a centre back, I think it's tricky. So I assume Phil Jones is going to be back, and I'm not sure what Lacazette is doing there. I'm not even sure what Arsenal's doing. Yes, sorry guys. It is funny watching Arsenal struggle. It just makes it all feel better as a Manchester United fan. Anyway, let's move on. Watford at home to Bournemouth.
I don't get how that's not a red card.
So Watford have been trash. They played a bit better against. Was it Arsenal? They played quite well against.
They drew Arsenal. Who was the game after?
And then after that, they lost to City.
Yeah, they lost quite well to City. And then last weekend, who did they play last weekend? Watford. Do you remember?
I'll check. You guys.
But anyway, they're at home. This game. Eddie Howe doesn't travel amazingly well.
Mm-hmm.
I probably predict a score draw for this game. So I'm thinking like a 1-1, possibly. It was Tottenham 1-1.
So that'll be a confidence booster.
Yeah, it could be a confidence booster. Watford were better than Spurs, but I think that has more to do with Spurs than Watford. I think if there was any team that had any form of togetherness, I think that Bournemouth will. That's why I still think that I still more like to keen towards a score draw than a win, because I just think Spurs and we'll come to Spurs in a second have been trash. So 1-1, probably maybe Decore, and I'm going to go to Callum Wilson for a goal. Team Takage quickly. Brighton, Everton.
Brighton at home.
Dimitri Ivanovic. As an Arsenal fan, I'm Emery out. He is not good enough. He makes the tactical mistakes. He plays with the same players that are not good enough. This is why we shouldn't have got rid of Wenger. Oh, so Wenger in, man. Fair enough. Thanks for commenting on the stream, by the way.
It's nice to see an Arsenal fan here.
Yeah. I think the United fans are still traumatic after the game, because I've got no United fans in the stream at all. If you just rewind back, you'll hear what the Arsenal fans said at the start of the stream, buddy.
Yeah, we were talking about Unai Emery and why he's a fraud.
Unai Emery is apparently a fraud.
Right.
A massive fraud, and I don't know how many minutes is it. It's 60 minutes, and Arsenal are still losing at home.
So Brighton, Everton.
But we'll go back to Brighton, Everton. But thank you for contributing. If you like what, please subscribe to the channel. It's not just the United channel. We appreciate it.
Well,
Everton.
Brighton's last home game was a great victory against Bottle Job FC. So I'm hoping Spurs.
Yeah,
I was hoping. Brighton might just continue how they left off. I think their home form was good.
Everton were quite good last game, weren't they?
I forgot who they played.
Sigurdsson scored that really good goal.
Right, they won against.
Who was
forgot now. But I think Brighton will take that away. That's fine. Yeah, Brighton will win that game.
Fine.
I'll give them 2-1.
Okay.
2-0 even.
2-0 to Brighton. Yeah. Everton.
If they can keep a clean sheet against Spurs, then keep.
I think the key thing in this game is if Everton lose this game, I think Marco Silva's getting sacked.
Yeah, probably. Anyway,
the last game gave him a bit of breathing space.
Getting it, but it was did he just it was 1-0 to
2-0, wasn't it?
2-0 to was it to Norwich? Was it Norwich?
Was it Bournemouth?
No, it wasn't Bournemouth. It definitely wasn't Bournemouth. I think it might have been Norwich. It was certainly it wasn't a top team. I just think that Brighton will be a different kettle of fish when you've got the likes of Dunk in your defence, who I rate as a defender. Was it there?
No, it's.
But yeah, I just think that if they're not careful, then he'll be sacked. Actually, I'm just going to give a Ahmed, West Ham, Sheffield United.
Trying to remember West Ham's last game.
West Ham's last game, we need to get the previous scores up.
I can get that.
We know what the last game that Sheffield United played. Obviously, Sheffield United beat Arsenal, but West Ham are obviously at home. Ahmed?
think this. I think it was Everton West Ham actually. I remember now. I remember Silva shaking. the hands of Kenny.
Everton West Ham. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So I think, given that last match, West Ham have not been in too great form since the international break in the last match. So I'm gonna go for.
West Ham were playing. Who was it? Red Devil Studio. Who were West Ham playing?
West Ham are playing Everton. It was
this week.
Everton. So West Ham playing Sheffield United at home.
So I'll put it as a 1-1 draw.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Lauren Krasniak, good to see you. Good to see you back on the channel. Appreciate it. Stay tuned for my PES stream later tonight. What was that match against Partizan? Mate, that was banter, frankly. Although at least we're not losing like Arsenal losing right now. So at home as well. So bear that in mind, because we've had to fly all the way to Serbia. These guys are in London and can't even beat a team that frankly no one actually knows about. So there we go. If you were interested though, I post a post-match reaction video just before this, so just check that out. Give it a like if you like. Really appreciate it. Long classic. It's against bloody Partizan and we can't score more than one goal. I didn't even know that Partizan was a thing. Last time I checked, Partizan was a cheese. You know, Partizan was a cheese, and we couldn't even beat a type of cheese. Well, we beat them with a penalty, but like I said, I'm with some Arsenal fans right now, and I feel slightly better just because they can't beat a team that doesn't seem to have vowels in their names. So there you go. Right. Moving on to our match predictions. Back to me actually. It's Burnley at home to Chelsea away. Now this I think is, for me, this could go either two ways. Chelsea just absolutely steamroll Burnley, or Burnley make a stout kind of performance, and because
they were hard done by the last match, weren't they?
Who?
Burnley
against Leicester, and they want to bounce back from that. And I always think that when you have because the thing is, Chelsea's defense, it's improving, but it's still vulnerable, I think. And when you have whenever you have big players like Ashley Barnes, Chris Wood, that are just there designed to rattle defenders, especially young, because Zuma's maybe a bit big, but Tomori is a bit weak. They're big, they're tough, they're so. If Chelsea get the early goal, then definitely game over. But I do think that it's going to be tough, especially away. That said, I'm probably just going to give it to Chelsea because I think Lampard will find a way. I think it'll be 2-1. Tammy Abraham to score, and possibly Mount if he's playing, with Burnley with a goal by Chris Wood, I think, who seems to be in a good run of form. Team Takage, before we come to last comment, Newcastle against Wolves. Newcastle at home.
Maybe give that. I think Newcastle could win. I like Newcastle at home. They're good. Wolves beat City away, so the away form is interesting. But I think Newcastle Newcastle are just surprising. I kind of think still that it might get relegated. But if they're going to picking up these points against Spurs and United, and, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're doing better against the top six than Arsenal. So I don't know. If they can have a good run of form, why not?
They actually didn't do bad against Chelsea. Well, I mean, by bad, I mean they held in the game. It was only because Marcus Alonso, who is frankly a banter player for Chelsea, it could have easily been a draw, So, Lauren Krasniqi. So I swear to God that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will come out all positive. How can you be positive when you can't beat a cheese team? Exactly. But the only thing I'll say, and I keep repeating this, is that AFTV is going to be pretty good tonight if things stay the way they are. So we'll just give it at that, to be honest. So just bear that in mind, Krasniak. If you think United are bad, Arsenal are worse. What was your score prediction, sorry, to Newcastle Wolves Team Takagi?
1-0.
1-0. Who's the score?
Maybe one of the boys that scored against Man United, Longstaff,
one of the Longstaff brothers. Right, Ahmed, and I guess Team Takagi. This is the key game I want you guys to review. Arsenal at home to Crystal Palace. On what you're seeing right now, and given the fact that Zaha probably has a point to prove, because he's probably the better right winger than Nicolas Pepe at the moment in time.
No, he's not. Zaha's playing trash this season.
Yeah,
is he playing worse than Pepe?
Yes. Pepe has the most chances created out of all of our players.
Okay.
His head's out the game, I feel Zaha.
But the thing is that it's more because he didn't get his move as opposed
Probably.
to.
Yes.
Why would so? Do you think that Arsenal will beat Crystal Palace at home?
Nope.
I think it'll be a draw.
A draw.
A 1-0 draw.
Didn't they beat us at home last season?
They did, and that's one of the main reasons we're not in the Champions League this season. 3-2, I think it was. But I think it's going to be a 1-0 draw. 1-0
draw. What about you, Team Takagi?
Could even be a 0-0 draw.
I mean, given Arsenal's defence, it's not going to be a 0-0 draw. So we'll I think 0-0 is a bit presumptuous. That's assuming that your defenders can defend and Xhaka won't be playing.
I think Crystal Palace will come at us.
Mm.
They're going to be watching this match. They're going to see how poor we are.
Mm.
They've seen our last match, so I think they're going to come at us.
Mm.
They know they can get at us.
No, we have 6 people watching. Thank you for coming late to the stream, guys. We have to rewind back and listen to the podcast. Sorry, Ahmed, go on.
1-0 draw. That's my prediction. I don't know. Team Chicago, what do you think? 0-0?
0-0.
Who's to score the goals? By the way, who's to score the goals?
I think Aubameyang will probably score our goal. Palace, Zaha maybe.
So Palace, Zaha, and then Aubameyang to score your goals.
For Arsenal, yeah.
Team Takagi, what do you think?
I said 0-0.
Oh, 0-0. So, and you just stick with that. Just no one to score the goals at all. That's just how it is. Fair enough. Right. Okay. Almost done, and then we'll just fantasy football, and we'll be done with the stream. And then I'm going to be playing PES as soon as this Arsenal game's over. Okay. Liverpool-Tottenham. We'll actually go around quickly because that's actually the biggest game I think of the weekend on Sunday kickoff 4:30. Liverpool-Tottenham. Liverpool at Anfield. 2-0. I think it might even be worse, to be honest.
I think it's a 2-0. I think Tottenham not hopefully, but I think they'll get some sort of stability back to their side.
Spurs played quite well at Anfield last season. If anything, they should have won at Anfield last season. But that was again in the period where Harry Kane was not in the squad, and when they were playing a different type of football. With Harry Kane fit, and with this with Pochettino tinkering, like, is he going to play Lucas Moura? Is he going to play Son? Is he going to play? Who's he going to play?
Son was like a substitute.
Son was a substitute. Lucas Moura was Kane. I don't know, and I feel that
this lack of stability doesn't help.
Yeah. If you can, I guess the point comes to, if you can go to Brighton and lose 3-0, what makes you think you're going to go to Anfield and
fare better than that? I think they had a terrible game then. I'll be surprised if the same happens at Liverpool. Liverpool are a really strong side.
And as we've discussed, when was the last time Liverpool lost at Anfield? So I don't think Tottenham are gonna win.
No.
But but are they actually going to get any points? I just don't see it.
I think they'll lose. It won't be a draw.
It'll be a draw. Okay. So I think score prediction. I would say I'm going to say 3-0 to Liverpool. Actually. Anyone disagree with that?
I'm still 3-1.
I'm still with 2-0.
2-0.
3-1.
Okay. Well, what do you guys think? So I'm going to do the United Norwich score prediction. So 3-1, 2-0. Who to score the goals?
Mane and Firmino.
Mane and Firmino. Lauren Krasnicki. I think Liverpool win 4-1. I wouldn't be surprised. Ole Gunnar is the type of guy to get run over a bus and then go and shake the bus driver's hand. that's interesting. So I wonder if that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, then what's Emery then? So I'm curious. What is I think they're pretty much the same type of player manager to be honest. But I do agree with you that I think Liverpool will win 4-1. I wouldn't be surprised about that to be honest. And then lastly, Norwich at home to Manchester United. I don't know, to be honest. Teams seem to use Manchester United as momentum now. Newcastle used it. Crystal Palace used it. Teams play against us and all right, we get a result against United, we can go forward because we've beaten a big team, in quote, even though we're playing more like a relegation team right now. Norwich have obviously had quite a run of bad form, but they might use this as cannon fodder. The only thing I would say about Norwich, unlike other teams, that Norwich are not going to sit back. Norwich don't play like they played against City, like they played against Chelsea. They don't play like how Newcastle, Wolves, and all the rest of it play. Where they put a lot of men behind the ball and hold on to things. And I think that will suit Manchester United. I think we will be able to use the space. And if Martial is fit, if Rashford is fit, if Fred and McTominay are going to be in there, if you play Williams as a left back instead of Ashley Young, please play Williams. He's one of our youth academy products. He's actually quick. He actually runs forward and gets the ball on. But I actually think he should play ahead of Young, and he's a good substitute for sure. If you have him on the left, and Wan-Bissaka on the right, I think that gives us some stability, and I think we have a chance of beating Norwich. But the most important thing, frankly, is that we take the game to them first, and we use the opportunity to create it. And I think Norwich will give us space. So because of that, I think we will win, but not by much. So I predict. Let me be optimistic. I predict a 2-0 to Manchester United with Martial to score a goal and Martial and McTominay to score the goal. Lauren Krasniqi, I actually think we will get a 2-2 draw after the performance against the Serbian Farmer team. Possibly. I do think defensive-wise, I don't agree with that. I don't think we'll concede 2 goals because I think defensive-wise, we've actually been okay. Even though we haven't scored many goals, we haven't actually conceded that many goals either, which is why our average point is only 1 point, because we essentially just draw games, because we don't score, but we don't really concede. So I don't think we'll concede 2 goals. The question is, in my opinion, do you think Anthony Martial, because he played terribly against Partizan, do you think he'll be able to come back and actually play a good game? But we'll be doing a preview tomorrow. Thanks again for watching, guys. We're going to quickly just give our quick fantasy football picks, and then we end the stream. Team Takage, who is your fantasy football pick?
I'm going to go with Gabriel Jesus.
Gabriel Jesus.
They're playing Aston Villa, so at home.
Okay. Ahmed, fantasy football pick?
Sadio Mane.
Sadio Mane?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to let me just quickly go back to the league. Who do I think? I think I'm going to go for a defensive pick. The Sheffield United defender, Lodrum, the Sheffield United guy, they're away at West Ham. I think if you want to get 6 points, I think Sheffield United defend very well. And if you want a cheap defender at 4.5 points, I think you should go for Lodrum. You get your 6 points. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Really, really appreciate it. We seem to get more people towards the end of the stream, so I recommend you start watching from the beginning. Give it a like, give it a share, subscribe. I'll be playing the last episode of our PES stream, and probably as soon as the Arsenal game is finished, soon after that, and we'll sort of take things from there. So stay tuned for that. Have a nice evening, guys, and cheers.